Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Communications from Home, which is my weekly evening show right here at Facebook at our main fan page for Star Nations, and that is Star Nations Organization's main fan page. Welcome. It's Tuesday, July 2nd. Can you believe that? I know we're already in July. You know, we're halfway through the summer, basically, right? And it was actually sunny here this afternoon. No rain, no thunderstorms. It was actually a very, very nice afternoon. We were kind of warm, but it was nice. I'm not complaining, not one little bit. Not one little bit. So this evening show is something that it's good, very interesting because my guest approached me. She said, I would really, really like to bring this information. Can we do a special show? And I said, you know what? Why don't you come on my show and we can have a really good conversation about the eclipse. But before we bring my guest on, what I'd like to do is ask you to do me a favor, and that is to spread the news, spread the word about the show. If you could send it over to your news feed or to a friend or something like that, it would really be helpful. I'm going to do the same thing. I've got my phone, and I'm going to find our live stream and get it sent over to my news feed, because I would like to have as many people available who's looking for this kind of information to be able to have them find us easier, right? And so, there's a lot of people having conversations today that I'm in groups on, and they keep, I don't know what's going on out there. All right, so I'm going to send it over to my news feed, over to my timeline, and that is to let my friends know that I'm live streaming. And I'm going to ask them if they'd like to come out and play. There we go. And I'm going to post that. There. I see Stephanie has been around in the house, so I'm sure she's going to send it over to the different groups that we have for Star Nations and the different pages. Thank you, Stephanie, for that. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Everything's fine in the studio. Rob is asking, did your feed die? I don't think so. Let me check. Do my phone. Oh, no. It looks like we're live. I see it. So maybe we're continuing what we started this afternoon, right, Rob? All right. So here, I want to introduce you to my guest. My guest, she and I have been friends for quite some time now, and she has been a part of Star Nation since I think 2014, and she has been one of our show hosts for that long, and she has also been a contributing writer to Star Nations magazine, and she's also our very, very first author for Star Nations Publishing, and so she and I have a very close relationship. She's a very good friend of mine, and she is also my astrologer. She does my solar return astrology every year for me, and I so appreciate it because it's so helpful for the coming year, right? So I'd like to bring on Julie Hedges is joining us tonight. Hello, Julie.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing?
Good to be here. Oh, I'm good. We have some thunder boomers going on in the background. So you've got the sun where you are. I've got some rain, but it's all good. So
oh, good. Could you do me a favor and turn up your volume just a tad?
Okay. Let me try to take care of that. Well, let's test that volume and see how that sounds.
Oh, that sounds better. That sounds better.
Okay. I can do a little bit more.
Okay.
All right.
Excellent. All right. So this evening's show is all about the eclipse energy, right?
Yes.
And I know you were very, I want to say excited. You were very passionate about this information. And I can't wait to see how you pulled all together the information to help us understand what eclipse energy does for us and to us.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So what I thought we could get started with, because there is a lot that I want to cover tonight, and I want us to start off with a nice container to hold all of that energy. So I would invite you, even if you've done your grounding today, because Neshi's good at reminding all of us to do our grounding. Even if you have done that today, I would ask you to join with me to do a grounding for our time this evening, because some things might come up as we're talking and sharing ideas about the eclipse. So I want to make sure that we are nicely, solidly aware in our bodies and have that container and that space for that awareness and anything that arises. So just affirm with me in your heart, if you would. My feet are connected to Grandmother Earth, and I'm grounded. My knees, my hips, my heart, my shoulders, my head are connected to my feet, connected to Grandmother Earth, and I am grounded. My entire body, my organs, cells, and bones, my nervous system is connected to my feet, connected to Grandmother Earth, and I am grounded. My entire central column, all of my energy centers that are within me and alive within me, are connected through my feet to the etheric field of Grandmother Earth, and I'm grounded. I am grounded. I am grounded. Amen.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Oh, yeah, just get kind of settled in all of that. And I titled this talk the same as my the title of my article for July, called Eclipse on My List. And that comes from an old song from the 80s. The lyrics are different, but for me it sounds like eclipse, eclipse is on my list, you know, that little ditty. So that's how it comes through for me. And July is a really big month. I wanted to do a special tarot journey program or a live stream on my own to just really talk about it. And so I thank you for the opportunity to come on here, Neshi, to talk about this. First thing, want to give a couple of announcements, if that's okay. Grounding. Okay. So when the Star Nations magazine is published on July the 10th, there's a great article in there about the eclipses and all of the big astrology for July. So I will invite you to check that out when it is published. Next 2 weeks, my show, The Tarot Journey, on July the 15th, on that Monday, I have special guest Polly Jo LeBay, and we are going to be talking about our energetic bodies and how we process some of these eclipse things. So I invite you to come back for some more as how we work in our bodies. And one other thing, I have offered this to my clients, and I'm putting it out here for anybody, a special written eclipse energy report based on your soul chart, your soul's blueprint of what you can expect during these eclipses, the eclipses of all of 2019. What are the lessons up for you? What is being supported in you? What is being restructured? How can you get through it? What are some affirmations and self-care tips based on your soul chart? So I'm only offering 10 of these. So if you want that, you get on it. It's on my Tarot Journey page, how you can order. So please.
Is it at which address do they go to?
If you go to the Tarot Journey page, I've got the PayPal link there. So that gets you right into the queue. And then you can mail me with all of the details so I can get started. So
okay. All right. Then we'll make sure that your fan page link is in the comments before the show ends. Okay.
awesome.
All right.
So let's get started with a very brief description about what is an eclipse. I think we've kind of lived through this for a long time. So most of us are familiar, but for those who are new and just wanting to learn about astrology, the eclipse is a special relationship between the sun, the moon, and the earth. And 2 times a year, 6 months apart, they line up in just the right place so that they come together. And at the solar eclipse that we've experienced today, the exact eclipse was about 3:15 Eastern time, so 2:15 Central time, when the eclipse was at its maximum. And so that is the moon moving in between the earth and the sun. And so it's a momentary blip. It kind of turns out the lights and turns back on. So that's the solar eclipse. And it was a total solar eclipse. The path of totality was in the Pacific Ocean and South America. So we didn't see the effect of it here, but I'm sure that us sensitive folks really felt it. I know I have been.
Me too.
I've been feeling it for a while, and I'm going to, feel it on through the rest of the month. So that's the solar eclipse that we experienced. And before I get into those details, just quickly, what is the lineup of the lunar eclipse? So that is when the earth passes in between the sun and the moon and creates that wonderful shadow on the moon.
Did we just drop her sound? I think we did, didn't we? Rats. Julie, I think we just dropped your sound. You want to switch over? Okay. It's just going to take her a second. She's going to switch over. We'll let her do that as she does it. Yeah, we were doing some audio testing, and we know that there's a little bit of I don't want to call it a glitch, but it's technology stuff. My goodness. And so she has a backup. So she's going to put that together for us, and it'll just take her a second. Yeah. So for those of you who are interested in doing her special, we're going to get her link to her Facebook fan page here so that you can take advantage of that opportunity. And we're going to get that in there soon. As soon as she comes back in, I'll duck out and be able to get that in there for her. I don't know if Stephanie. Oh, she did it already. Look at that. Stephanie is so good. She's such a good. Oh my goodness. See, we asked, and there it is. Stephanie is on the ball. Hey, Julie's here too. Oh, I don't know if I can hear you. No, I can't. That's okay, Julie. Just unplug it and plug it back in and see if that does the trick. It's almost like, in the old days. Do you remember to fix something, we'd get a hammer out and we'd smack it a little bit. I don't know if that ever did anything, but it made you feel pretty good. And then sometimes whatever you're working on was actually starting to work, to actually do what it's supposed to do. She's working on it. She'll get it going. She's actually pretty adept at this now. I don't know. It's almost like there's a disconnect or something with her external microphone, but she'll work on it. Can't hear you. So you might have to go back out and come back in. That's okay. It's fine. Just breathe. You'll be fine. If you can go out and come back in, that'd be all right. Okay. All right. Yeah, she'll be back. While she's gone, I'm going to say hi to a few folks here. Yeah, Rob is here. He was singing the same song. The same song. And Leah's here. Hello, Leah. Good to see you in the chat again. It's good to have you here. And look, they actually were talking about Hall & Oates. You guys are so funny. And Julie Shumway joined us too. Hello, Julie. Good to have you here. Looks like Julie's back. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see if we've got audio. How's
How
that?
about this?
Okay, we can
Are we
hear
good?
you. We can hear
Okay,
you. Good.
let's
Might
rock
need-
and roll.
Okay, now you can turn your
Turn my
sound
sound down.
down a little bit.
Oh,
There you go.
we'll get this worked out one of these days, I think. I hope.
Yeah, it'll
Is
be
that a
fun.
little bit better?
Yes, it is. Hey, Amy Daniel says she was outside during the totality. It felt a couple of degrees cooler
Ooh,
and slightly less intense sunshine.
interesting.
Wow, very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Amy.
Yeah.
So we left off with you. Wait, I got to bring in screen. We left off with you describing or telling us the definition of.
Okay.
Okay.
So I made it through the solar eclipse. That's the moon moving between the sun and the earth. So it blocks out that sunlight for the solar eclipse. Totality only lasts about a minute because we're moving so quickly.
Mhm.
The lunar eclipse is when the earth passes in between the sun and the moon, and it creates that lovely red shadow on the moon. They call those the blood moon. So those last longer. They can last up to an hour or a little bit more. And that really brings the shadow to light.
Mhm.
But the solar eclipse, to really talk about it, what does it mean today? Because that's what we are experiencing. That is like a reset. It's a reboot. Just like I did. Unplug it and plug it back in. And so, yes, there was that moment, here I'm living the eclipse.
Uh-huh.
There's that moment of, okay, you got to scramble and get things hooked back up. Or it's just a cut it off and, get it back working. So it functions energetically, a solar eclipse functions energetically as a consciousness reset.
Oh.
Because the sun is what overlights us. That's how we can see to do our work during the day and drive around and play and whatever we do outside. So it is that reset. It's when you are plugging away at your computer and everything goes black and then comes back on. It's that reboot. It's that reset. And so we need those twice a year. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind putting up that quote.
Oh, sure.
The eclipses provide a buffer between great evolutionary advances and everyday existence. I took that directly from my article. Because all of the growth that we are here to experience, our soul said, hey, I want to come down here and dance around and shake it up and learn a few things and share and teach and integrate and heal. We need to do that in stages. And just kind of like climbing the staircase or climbing a ladder. We have to do it in increments, and we have to integrate it ourselves. Right. Otherwise, we could fry our circuits just like the lightning would fry your electronics if it hit your house. I don't know if anybody has had lightning hit your house. I haven't, thank goodness. Have you, Neshi?
My parents' house when I was growing up, a couple of times, yeah.
Couple of times. So you've had to replace electronics a couple of times.
Well, there weren't that many back then, but yes, the television, the pump in the well, that sort of thing. Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So all of that energy at one time, boom, can just fry you. And so it would do that to our own internal electricity. So what the eclipses do is provide those little blips, those little surges, those little focuses that we can make kind of quick changes and then let it integrate from months. Mm-hmm. So that's why we have them twice a year, and we can have up to 7 eclipse events over a year. And they're always going to be 6 months apart because that's when they come into alignment in their orbits.
Okay.
This year we have 5. So we had January 5th, mm-hmm. January 21st, we had 2. Now we have July 2nd, July 16th, and December 26th. So we have all of these opportunities for little upgrades, little bursts, so that it's a bridge between these evolutionary advances for our soul growth and our maturity and our emotional well-being and our mental acuity and our just everyday life. So we can get these little doses. Is that making sense?
Yeah. It's not what I was thinking. It feels more like a restart because it isn't really necessarily a full reboot, is it? Or can it be?
It can be. It really does depend on your own soul chart, on how much of a ripple or a tidal wave that it's going to cause.
I see.
And yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's how your alignment is coinciding with this alignment. Sometimes it can be just like a gentle lapping at the shore. And sometimes it can be that full, okay, we got to unplug and come back in, just like I did with my sound, because, didn't know what was happening there.
Right.
And on a personal level, it can be that same way too.
Oh, see, Rob is saying that in IT, restart and reboot are the same thing.
Oh, okay.
It just feels like restart is a smaller thing, whereas to me a reboot is like shutting it down and coming back on. And sometimes when I shut down, it takes a while for my computer to come back up. Not so much with a restart, but Rob would know, that's his world.
Yeah, he's the master at that one.
Yeah.
So I can tell us a little bit about what's going on with this particular eclipse and what we can expect, or maybe affirm some things that you've already been dealing with. So we'll start there. This eclipse is in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is known as the Great Mother. So it's that mothering energy. It's that nurturing. It's that self-care. It's the place of home where we feel nurtured and feel safe. So we're getting a reboot with this, or a restart, or something deeper, some insight, because this is a solar eclipse, so some insights there. And I want to read this. I subscribe to Dr. Michael Lennox. He's one of my favorite astrologers, and I get his daily astro updates. And I like what he says about this, so I'm going to share it online tonight. He says, Cancer is the womb, the mother energy, the place where we return for rest and rejuvenation. Cancer invented home and hearth. And so he talks about, hey, this month will likely bring it out into the open. You did this.
Yes, I did. Oh my gosh.
Yep. Cancer is all of the signs live in our bodies, because as above, so below, as within, so without. So Cancer energy is your stomach and the breasts. So that place of nurturing. So if you are feeling it in your heart center, this is where all these things live. That's where it's hitting home. Cancer is home. So you might have some deep things coming up concerning home and family and root systems, your legacy, your mother, your being a parent or mothering, nurturing, caring for. So yeah, those things are definitely coming up.
Okay. So if you have like indigestion or heartburn or a tummy ache or anything like that on the physical level today or in this time frame, right? It could be that you're working through some stuff.
Definitely.
Okay. Huh.
And so we would always want to look at the other layers, because as energy workers and practitioners and light showers, we know that we have all of these layers. We get something in our etheric field first, and if we can take care of it, great. Then it gets into our mental field, and then it might penetrate into our emotional field, and finally it'll come into our bodies. And our bodies say, take care of it, take care of it, take care of it. So it's that whole piece of feelings that have been lodged in there, unsurfaced, that can be manifesting then in the physical. So he talks about threads of undeserving, shame, fear, doubt. Yeah. Shame is a big one.
Yeah. So really it's, I mean, to see or sense the eclipse energy from a positive aspect, that if you have anything that you haven't addressed yet, now's the time that you could tap into the energy to be able to understand it better.
Definitely.
Okay.
And this is also the time for putting self-care as our focus. And that's not a buzzword these days. That is really a thing. To be able to care for ourselves, so that we can be caring and nurturing for others. It's that whole put on your mask first. Yeah. If cabin pressure suddenly drops, put on your mask first, and then you can help your neighbor put on his mask. Because you have to be conscious and aware and alive in order to help someone else.
Right.
To be that nurturing, supportive thing.
Conscious. There's the word, because we can help with when we're conscious, when we're consciously awake. Yes. We can take that meaning in many different directions there as we assist others. Right?
Yes.
Yes. Connecting some dots here with this eclipse energy.
And maybe some people are feeling very sentimental, but they have some memorabilia, some special, items in their home that just have very sentimental value. Those can be seen in a new light, or some new insights around those, or just even thinking about, that little music box that I got from my grandma when I was 3 years old. It's really calling to me out of the blue. I really wanted to hold it and play with it. So being sentimental about those kinds of things, that can be called up as well.
Well, that makes sense. That's for sure.
Yes. So that's on the solar eclipse side. And I can say for myself, just being very transparent for myself, I have had truth bombs going off in my realm for quite a while. Yeah. So does that mean that it's all in this time frame of the eclipse? Well, I can say yes for myself. And possibly you can look in your own life on life events and life circumstances that have surfaced for you. My teachers have taught in astrology that eclipses have 30-day arms, 30-ish days. So things coming into your consciousness, information, insights, changes to your life circumstances 30 days before and up to 30 days after can be triggered by this eclipse event. So you can kind of look in your own timeline, your own life to see what has been unfolding.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we're talking about it in terms of home and family and safety and nurturing and your stomach and breast area and grief and all of those things, the manifestations of it are individual to wherever you are in life. So it could come up in your career.
Mm-hmm.
It could come up in your relationship, friendships, business partnerships, all of those things. Wherever you are being asked to put your self-care first.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say, that in this time frame, this new insight of how best you can take care of yourself. So you might be asked to rethink your career or your friendship with someone or your relationship with your family of origin. So are there any questions in the chat? I'm glad to take some.
Yeah, go ahead, guys. Put your questions in. I'll bring them up for Julie. I'm just going to take her names down. Rob is saying something kind of interesting. He's saying that if there are 6 or more in a year, there'll be no respite.
That's an interesting point. I like to think of them as these little reboots, little upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
And so they happen in concentrated sections 6 months apart. So we had them in January. Now we have them in July. So from January to July, we had all that time to process the information and the lessons and the healing that was presented to us in January. And then now in July, whatever's coming up for us to heal and integrate and then share with the world, we have that until we come around again into December.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I suppose, we were talking the other day during my afternoon show about life lessons and actually having a consciousness shift around that most times we think of life lessons or perceive them as something that is very challenging, painful, and dark night of the soul kind of stuff, right? And the cards are telling us that day is that we need to do a consciousness shift around that we spend too much time on the story of the emotional upheaval, and we don't spend enough time on the gift that we're gaining, which is the wisdom.
Oh,
to move through that so that we get to the wisdom part. So
good one.
Yeah. So, but I think that we can kind of even frame that with the eclipses as well. It was that energy is that if we expect them to be challenging and hard, then they will be. They will be, right? But if we can reframe it a bit for ourselves and focus on the gift that we're being given, right, which is our soul growth. It's actually helping us to get there in a whole in maybe faster for some people, but maybe it's a way to be able to help us through it. That it's actually a gift.
Look how far I've come.
Yeah, exactly.
This is my mid-year report of all of the work that I've been doing since January, and here I am. How have my circumstances unfolded in a way where I can demonstrate the wisdom that I have gained and just add to it?
Right. And if the eclipse is helping us to bring up to the surface those things that we're ready to address, maybe we should be looking at it as an opportunity.
Good one.
All right. Stephanie is saying, you've been spot on at about 75% of that I've been looking at in my world.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just thinking that 30 days before and 30 days after, right? Polly Joe's class that she had here awakening to your true potential. It was all about soul work, right? And healing and that sort of thing, right? And that happened within that 30-day time frame before the eclipse, right? And now people are integrating what they healed after I just think it's fascinating that, how we select our dates for our classes or anything in our life for that matter, and how it falls is by no coincidence.
Mine started, my little insights, my revelations, my little reboots. It feels to me kind of like leapfrog. It's like I jump, and then jump. That started right at the beginning of June for me. So today's July the 2nd. So it started right in June that I'm getting these things, and it's been nonstop. So it's, I'd go, and then maybe 10 days later, and here's another jump. And I've been having these little hippity hops all along here. It's like, oh, okay.
Right. So we had the solar eclipse today, and you were sharing with us that that it brings light into the situation in that reboot, right? And that illuminates, right? So we're dealing with a lot of things that describe again for us in the astrology what our sun sign is, because I'm sure that goes into this, right? Because it's all about the sun.
Sure. So your sun sign in astrology represents your operating consciousness and how it is the vehicle that you are moving around in your world. So it could be a VW bus or a Ford F-150 or, whatever it is, whatever your vehicle is, that is your personality self, or we call the ego, the way in which you move around in your world, how everyone sees you, your home, let's say. And so all of these 12 signs, they have a pair. So we have energies that we are balancing there. And some of these signs would be more affected than others by the eclipses. I shared earlier about, could be a ripple for some people, could be more of a big splash for others. It just depends on your astrology. So based on this, what's going on now with the solar eclipse in Cancer, those of us with planets and sensitive points in our soul charts in the signs of Cancer and Capricorn will be the most affected. So anything from 0 to, I'm going to say 5 to 15 degrees of those on either side will be most affected by what's going on, with maybe lots of little bursts of insights and growth opportunities and all of that.
Yeah.
The second group who could be very affected would be those with Aries and Libra. Again, from 5 degrees to 15 degrees. Because Aries and Libra sits, kind of at the crossroads. So when the energies come together, something's got to give.
Yeah.
If everybody gets to the 4-way stop at the same time, someone's got to let someone else go first.
Right.
So that perpendicular energy is about a release. Who's going to get to go first? So based on what you have in your soul chart, which is what I look at as an astrologer, will tell me, here are some of the lessons and healing opportunities that you have with this time. Here's your mission should you choose to accept it during the eclipse. Here are the things you might see and encounter. Here are the ways that you, as an empowered soul, can teach others and demonstrate for others in the world. So does that help a little bit?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Annette Offredell Cherney Glomsted's with us.
Hello.
Annette. Good to have
Glad
you.
you're here.
Yeah. And Rob says, do the significance of the eclipse cognate to magnify the natural lunar cycles associated with them? Solar, New Year, lunar full.
Okay, I think I understand what you're asking, so let me know if I'm on target or not. So the solar eclipses only happen when there is a new moon. So it's that lining up of the sun and the moon together, which is a natural cycle of beginning. So a solar eclipse is a new consciousness, a new spark, a new light, a reboot. So yes, it's going to be like, we're getting close to the 4th of July right here in the US, and Canada Day, they just had Canada Day, I think, today. Yeah. So if you like that sparkler and that first blast of light, that sulfur that ignites on the sparkler, versus just lighting a candle, that burst of light would be kind of the intensity on the solar eclipse side of things.
Mm.
And then a lunar eclipse would only happen at the full moon time frame, when the sun and the moon are in opposition and the sun shines his light against the moon and it glows full. So that is a magnified, I like that word, a magnified full moon lunar eclipse, and it can only happen at those times.
Oh, see, that's even a little bit of an insight, isn't it, gang? I mean, you know, when you think about, because I didn't think about new moon, full moon in the opposition of the sun, right? And so with the solar eclipse, if it's, like you said, it's new beginnings because it's the new moon. And so with the lunar eclipse, with it being a full moon, then it would be about completions.
Yes. Finality.
Oh. See, I just had a light bulb moment. Did you guys see that? It went boom.
So I think that's a good segue to cover a little bit about the lunar eclipse that's coming up, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So on July the 16th, we're going to have a partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Capricorn. So again, with the lunar eclipse, that is a full moon, so it is completion, it is ending. And in the sign of Capricorn, that's all about responsibility and integrity and hard work and authority. And Capricorn represents structure. It represents, it's your bones in your body. It's your skin. It's your teeth, your hair. Those things that are the structure of you. If we didn't have bones, we'd just be like a bag of soup. You know, we have to have, we have to have that structure. So this is what I wrote. I'm reading just a little piece of my article, that the partial lunar eclipse on July the 16th in Capricorn holds the energy of fortifying our boundaries and eliminating anything that distracts you from your responsibilities.
Okay.
So kind of like back to basics.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do.
Stay on the path.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. Rochelle's here. She wants to say hi.
Oh, hello. Glad you're here. Thanks for
Yeah.
joining our conversation about eclipses. Eclipse on my list.
We had several people. You and,
they know the song. Good.
Rob and Leah, they were saying Hall & Oates.
Yeah. I used to like them.
Yeah.
So just sharing this a little bit. This is another excerpt of what Michael Lennox wrote. Capricorn is where we move out into the world with definitive purpose and clarity of vision. Capricorn invented the social structures that are the opposite of home. So the opposite of Cancer.
Okay.
So Cancer is the home and family and where we're safe.
Right.
And Capricorn are the big institutions. schools, universities, governments, banks,
Hospital.
literally your home's foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So those kinds of things, those structures.
Mm.
So when we're really looking at what's coming up for the lunar eclipse, it is that piece of responsibility and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Are you doing what you know you need to do to fulfill your responsibilities?
Okay.
Are you really cleaning your room? Or are you just shoving dirty socks underneath your pillow and old pizza crust in the closet and then going out to play?
Yeah.
Because at the lunar eclipse, I think Dad's going to come down the hall and inspect your room. It could happen. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Well, there again, it gives you the opportunity to clean it up.
Clean your room.
Yeah. Wow. And these things are really back to back, all this energy. So what happens I don't know if this is even a real question. What happens in the middle? Because if the lunar is on the 16th, we just had the solar today, right? So there's got to be a midpoint.
Yeah, when the moon keeps moving around in its orbit and goes to it waxes until it hits. So it's got the first quarter and then the crescent, the gibbous, and all of those sorts of things. So the moon is then moving around in our own emotional system, dropping its little insights in there. Kind of like a piñata rains candy from the sky. The moon, when she's moving around, then can help those droplets.
Okay.
One thing I do want to mention about the eclipses is that they alternate back and forth. They have seesaw partners. So every sign has its partner. So Cancer's partner is Capricorn. So they do this seesaw partner dance for 18 months where we learn the lessons of home, responsibility, nurturing, and integrity. And then everything shifts and it goes to another pair. And so we have 18 months of new lessons. So if you think of it like we're all getting a university degree right now in home and responsibility, in nurturing and integrity, when those Cancer and Capricorn attributes. And so our job is to learn them and master them and integrate them. And then we get new lessons every 18 months. And it keeps going around. So 9 years ago, we were having the same lessons. So all of you listening out there, you can think, you can hop in your Wayback Machine as your homework and think, okay, what were my lessons back then? How did I master them? And what skills did I learn that I've been using or that I can put to use right now to knock this out? Or to heal this or to integrate this. So that was 9 years ago. And then you go back 18 years. Same lessons. We just get deeper and fuller and more of who we are.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting because it was 2010, right? Would have been 9 years ago. Yeah, 2010. My dad walked on in 2010. Changed the family structure.
Oh,
how energy
that was a Capricorn Cancer lesson.
Yeah.
And Capricorn is the great father, the authority, the leader. So there he was, the leader of the family.
Yeah. Oh, it's Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make this stuff up, you know. You really tried. It's like it wouldn't be as awe-inspiring if we did. Holy smokes! Is anybody else having one of those aha moments? Those, you know, when you connect the dots, and you think, "Wow," because I certainly am. Thank you so much, Julie, for
You
that.
are welcome.
Yeah. Hmm. So
I can go ahead.
I was just going to say, with the eclipse energy, is there anything that you can suggest to us that we can do to be more open and to receive the gifts, the energies coming in?
Okay. I do have some. Are you getting feedback?
Just a little bit, yeah.
Because I can hear an echo from myself.
Yeah. If you turn your sound down just a tad, maybe.
A little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay. I do have some eclipse self-care tips. These are things that I personally do for myself, but to particularly answer your question about how we can open ourselves and really be ready, I would say to ground. That's most important. I love how you remind us every day to ground. That's good.
I know. Because
So that is very much caring for the community with reminding us to ground.
mm-hmm.
And drop into your body and don't be afraid to stay there. Because we are processing so much in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And so listening to what our bodies have to say. Capricorn is your bones, your skin, the hair and the teeth. Cancer is the stomach. What is your stomach doing right now? What is your stomach doing when you think about your home or your mom, or when you think about a relationship? What does your stomach do?
Mm-hmm.
How are your breast area, ladies? You know, really drop into your body. That would be, I think, the best way to invite it in, because these energies can be a little bit heavy, because we are dealing with heavy subjects of home and mothers and nurturing and career and status and authority and leadership,
Mm-hmm.
and how you are in the community, how you are at home. So these are very sensitive places for us in general.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So dropping into the body as much as you can and taking care of the body. So I'm giving everyone permission to eat your comfort foods.
Yay!
Yes. I had an ice cream sandwich today because they were giving them away at work. So I had a little comfort food there.
Oh my God.
So you have that permission to maybe relax your own guidelines if it feels appropriate to you, but there is your permission to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's no wonder why I have, you know how busy I am and taking care of mom and all that. So sleep is exactly something I get a lot of. But the last couple of days, I sit down to work. Paul caught me sitting on the couch. I was going to check my email, and he came into the living room, and I was sitting there with my laptop on my lap, and he said, "Hello, you okay?" And I opened my eyes. I had fallen asleep. Yeah.
You were getting little zap downloads real quick.
I was, and so maybe we need to give permission for people to take a nap too if they need to.
I love it. Do that. Self-care. So these are some of my personal things that I do. My personal self-care tips. Epsom salt baths.
Oh yes.
Boom. I just do.
Mm-hmm.
I also add Rose Absolute essential oil to my bath.
Mm-hmm.
And I also make rose bath salts with actual rose petals in them. So I put them in my bath because rose is wonderful for the skin. It's wonderful for heart energy. It's wonderful for healing traumas.
Mm-hmm.
It's just perfect.
Yes.
I've started stretching and adding some heart opening things. I work at a computer all day, so I'm kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
I sleep like this on my side. So I need things that open up my chest. And so I can get a deep breath. And so I do this kind of, opening. And the first few times I did it, it was really stretching my muscles in here. And I could feel that opening. Kind of like when you have a brand new book and you crack the spine of the book. It felt like I was cracking the book. It's like, oh, I need to do that regularly. So I'm not,
oh my God,
not so tight. So I do that. My daily grounding.
Mm-hmm.
I do that grounding exercise that we did. I do that every day, twice a day.
Yay.
And I have Neshi to thank for reminding me on that. And sometimes you just have an emotional release. You got to cry it out.
Mm-hmm.
I had to cry it out yesterday while I was doing another one of my self-care tips is walking out in nature. I cried it out.
Mm-hmm.
So if you cry it out, that's better than crying it in, keeping it in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also listening to your body and letting it release so that you can have room for the things that really matter.
Right. And it's the healing piece, right? And every time we heal one of our emotional or mental traumas, we gain a whole lot of experience and wisdom from it. It's a part of our soul growth, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting.
What are some of your self-cares?
Well, actually, these days it really is about the physical body. It really is. When you're talking about the stretching, mine is to go to a door frame and to do the stretch. My arms are along the door joint, the door frame, and I lean into it. Yeah. And so I get that stretch through here because I spend a lot of windshield time on the computer too. And I'm doing the liver cleanse that Patty Heredia wrote about in Star Nations magazine. So I've been doing that since February, I think. It was February. Something like that. And so I'll take that through the rest of the year. And so really it is about the physical body this year for me. Making sure that I'm taking my supplements. I changed up my supplements and learned a lot about folate and that kind of stuff. And so anyway, it's a lot about that, but I'm still doing, in the old days, I used to do like 30-minute meditations and that sort of thing. I don't have that 30 minutes. When I do, it's usually during a class time that I actually get that kind of deeper meditation in. But these days, it has always been, 5 or 10 minutes, deep breath, connecting with my spiritual team, sensing my Merkaba, and that sort of thing. So the self-care, for me these days, is more about my physical body. And getting the stretching in, because you know what? If we don't stretch, man, it's hard to sit in a desk all day long if you don't get some movement. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. And I wonder that your liver cleanse that you started in February, if that idea was somehow sparked by the eclipses that we had in January.
I'm sure it was.
To really focus on that.
And it leads everything to what I went through in 2017 and all the integration that I did in 2018. And so this year is all about grounding it into the earth plane. And so is getting my physical body involved with it. Stephanie has, I light candles and incense, quilt, stretch, and drink water when I need to do self-care. Oh, good one about that water. Really, really. Got to be hydrated.
I forgot to add that I drink 2 liters of water a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to change my attitude a little bit about it because I kind of drink it like I have to drink water. But it's part of the routine now. It's like I know I need to do it, so it's in my routine, and I'm just going to do it. Thank you for sharing that, Stephanie. That's awesome.
And Paul's doing this too. He's because he had that kidney stone situation, and he downloaded an app that reminds him to drink water, and it's all based on his height and his weight and all of that, and so he has to drink so many liters of water a day, and it will remind him.
Oh,
yeah, and it's working. So, yeah, good one, Steph. Thanks for bringing that one up. The water. Annette saying, I cry, quilt, drink water, and pray. Good
wonderful.
One.
Yeah.
Now just add the grounding piece to that, and lady, you're set. You're doing really well. Just add the grounding piece to that one. And Rob is saying hiking in nature. Mm-hmm.
Yes, good one.
Yeah, that connection to Grandmother Earth, definitely. And moving our physical body, right? Yeah. Good. You guys are doing so good.
Yay.
Yay. Can you imagine we're at the top of the hour?
I know. Thanks everyone for sticking with me when I had my little reboot that I needed to do.
I'm thinking maybe do you have any final words that you'd like to share with the audience before we say goodnight?
Okay. Yes. Michael Lennox had shared this in his post, and so I'm just going to offer it here. That he has just an affirmation prayer that he likes to do, and so I'm going to share that now. I am willing to have anything and everything that needs to come up to be healed to come into my conscious attention in order to facilitate that healing. So it's kind of like I'm ready for the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Lay it on me, because I want this to be healed and part of my empowerment from now on. So I love that little prayer that he included in his post today.
Yeah.
I wanted to share it here.
That is really good. It's a good one. Hang on, I'm going to bring me back up here. That is really a good one. And my final words, just want to make sure this is in here. I was trying to share something. Wait. I think I got it. What I wanted to do was to share that that the Creator, right? The Creator has given us so many gifts, and so many times we may not identify them as gifts because of the experience that comes to us with it, right? And so if we can look at and receive the gifts that the eclipse's energy is bringing to us many times a year, that it feels to me like this is helping us to maybe fast track something. That if you're ready to heal a certain aspect that's going on in your life, is to be able to tap into the eclipse energy and be grateful for that little boost that you're getting, right? That, and we've been working on the July issue of Star Nations magazine for a few weeks already. And so when I laid out the articles and the corresponding pictures for them to be laid down, prepped them for laid out. When I read your article, I thought, oh man, this is a good one. And so what I'd like to do is to invite those who are very interested in understanding the energy of the eclipses, not just for this one, but for this year, right? And I'm going to put the link to our website into the comments to the magazine page, and just go there and visit, look around, and if it feels right to you, my suggestion is to get the July issue when it comes out on the 10th, because this is really going to help you to be able um, to really fulfill your soul contract. I think it's one of those pieces of the puzzle. Right? So, thank you, Julie, for coming on and being so generous with your information and helping us to understand the gift of the eclipses.
It was my wonderful pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah. And with that, please enjoy the rest of your evening. And Bama Mina, that's Potawatomi, and that means until we see each other again. Love you guys.